things are a little bit different today. We're going to have kids in here, and it's going to be a little bit noisy. It's going to be a little bit messy, but that's okay. We had a church cleanup just yesterday, and what I found was we have a messy church, and so we just need to deal with that. We just need to be okay with that. It was a messy church. We cleaned it up as best we could. It looks great, and thanks to all who came for that. But still, we have a messy church. So don't worry if it's a little bit loud, a little bit noisy. That's okay. If your kid flips out or whatever, if you have to take them, that's fine too. Don't feel bad about that. So I'm gonna talk to the kids and everybody today. We're gonna do the best we can. We're gonna get through it together as a church family. And the message that I felt in the insert there, Ralph had a great message prepared, but I'm not giving that one. I don't know what exactly it was. So we're gonna see what happens. But here's the bottom line, though, kids and parents and everybody, pay attention to this, because I think it's something we may understand, but we don't quite realize sometimes. And I'm going to say a truth to you here. Sometimes bad things happen to you, and it is not your fault. Sometimes bad things happen to you, and it is not your fault. This is a hard lesson for us to learn, because as we grow up, and I have kids, and I raise my kids too, we created a little system in our house. If you do good, then you'll get a reward. If you do bad, you get punished. And it may be a timeout, maybe it's a spanking. We're kind of grown past that, our kids are. But at least when they grow up, that's what we did. And so we built in our kids this little system of good and bad and right and wrong. You do something good, and good thing will happen to you. You'll get a candy or something. I don't even think we did that. I wasn't that good with candy, no. But that's the idea. You do good, and we'll be happy. You do bad, and you'll get it in timeout. I asked my kids when they were real little. I have a girl and a boy. When they were littler, I said, hey, when you're punished, which one would you prefer? Would you prefer a spanking or a timeout? And even as I'm saying this, I don't know, spanking, is that even legal to do anymore? I might be convicting myself, but anyway, whatever, I'm in trouble regardless. I said, would you rather have a spanking or a timeout? My daughter said, I'll do timeout, anything but a spanking. And my son said, please, spanking, anything but a timeout. And so I switched it on him. Because it's got to be a punishment, right? I don't want to be, I was just curious. Anyway, but we create this system. You do something good, and you'll get something good in return. And we start thinking, hey, that's how everything works. We start thinking, that's how the world works. That's how God works, we start thinking. But I want to tell you, even though that system might work well in your home, and it does work well in your home, that's not how the world works. Sometimes you can be as good as you possibly can be, yet bad things will still happen to you in the world. And it's not how God works either. Sometimes we get in our heads, I got to be good, I got to do all these good things, and then God will bless me. And if I do these good things, then God will bless me. But if I don't do good things, then God's not going to do, and maybe he'll do bad things to me, maybe he'll punish me. Let me tell you, even if that's how your home works, that's not how the world works, and it's not how God works. We have this saying, you get what you deserve, kind of thing. That's not God's saying. That's our saying. So don't get that mixed up in your head. Now I'm going to tell you a story, because that's what pastors do. They tell stories. And this story is found in John, the Gospel of John, chapter 9. And actually, I'm not even going to tell the whole story. It's a weird thing pastors do sometimes. They'll just read you a couple lines of the story, and then they'll talk about those lines. I don't know why pastors do that. In Sunday school, you kids get the whole story, and it's really exciting. But I'm just going to prepare you for church when you grow up. Pastors don't do that for some reason. They just tell you a couple lines, and then that's it. So I'm just going to tell you a couple lines because I'm mean. I'm a mean pastor. Ralph was going to tell you the whole story, but I'm just going to give you a couple lines. Now, this story is a very interesting one. It's in John, and Jesus comes up to a man who's born blind. He's been blind since birth. And you know what? I'll tell you the whole story. I'll do you a favor. I'll tell you the whole story real quick. Hold on, buddy. Questions afterwards. Jesus comes up, man born blind, and Jesus heals the guy. The guy goes back, and everybody who's mad at Jesus, everybody who's like upset that Jesus is doing good things, they're really upset with this man who was healed, because they don't want to see Jesus doing good things. They don't want to believe in Jesus. They don't want to trust in Jesus or think that Jesus is out there doing any good. And so here's this man who's healed from his blindness, and the people who are angry with Jesus are upset with this guy. They're saying, oh, you can see now. They're not happy about it at all. And they're said, who healed you? And the guy said, well, this guy named Jesus healed me. And they say, oh, Jesus can't do that stuff. And he says, well, I can see now. I mean, I was born blind and now I can see. And so it's actually a funny story. You guys should read the story. It's in John chapter 9. Then the Pharisees and the people that are mad at Jesus call in this guy's parents. And they say, was your son really born blind? Because they're hoping it's not true. And the parents say, he's a grown man. You just ask him yourself. And so they bring the guy in and he says, listen, I don't know what you got against Jesus, but all I know is I used to be blind and now I can see. You guys have to deal with that. And they get all angry. Oh gosh, we wish Jesus wasn't doing these nice things. So now I want to look at just that's the whole story. You're welcome. I'm not that mean after all. Now I want to look at the very first part of the story. What happens here? Because it's very interesting what Jesus says. It says this, as he went along, this is Jesus and his followers, as he went along, he saw a man blind from birth. And his disciples asked him. His disciples are Jesus' followers, the people who's following around. And they wonder, Rabbi, that's the word for teacher, in that there's a different language. Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? Now, do you understand the question? Here's a guy who's born blind, and his disciples said, what happened? What was wrong? Did he do something wrong, or did his parents do something wrong? Why is he blind? And this is Jesus' answer. Listen to this, adults too. Neither this man nor his parents sinned, said Jesus. This happened so that the works of God might be displayed in him. Then I'm going to stop there. That's how pastors do it. We don't tell the whole story. Now, this is an interesting response because his disciples, the followers of Jesus, think the same way we do. They think, okay, if you do good, then God will do good things for you. If you don't do good things, then God's going to punish you. He's going to flick you or something. God says, stop. I don't like you doing that. That's how his disciples thinking. And so then they see something bad happen to this person and they say, okay, what was it? Did he do something wrong? What did he do wrong that he's born blind? And Jesus says, no, that's not how God works. Neither he sinned nor his parents sinned. Now, this answer is very interesting because this answer seems to say, God doesn't work with that you get what you deserve kind of thing. Sometimes bad things happen to you and it's not your fault. And sometimes bad things happen to you and it's not your parents' fault. We usually think it's something we did. In fact, we invented, I don't know if you kids heard this term, we invented this term called karma. And sometimes you'll hear adults using this term karma. What karma means is you do something good and the universe will do something good for you. Usually people who say karma say something like the universe. They say kind of weird stuff like that. You do something good and the universe will do something good for you. You do something bad and somewhere down the line, the universe will do something bad for you. We call it karma. And if you're on the internet, you probably heard karma too. That's a cool internet thing. But that's what that phrase means. And so we have in our minds, we got to do good things because we want the universe to give us good things. And we don't want to do the bad things because we don't want to give the universe bad things. So here's what it's like. And this is the best illustration I could come up with. So we've got these two tables. We've got the good table and we've got the bad table. No, I put the Bible on the bad table. That's not right. We've got the good table and we've got the bad table. And as you go through your life, sometimes you mess up. Sometimes you make mistakes. And I thought, well, what would be good for an illustration for something bad? And here's some toilet paper. So you go through your life and you stack up some bad thing. Maybe you do something mean to your brother or sister. You're mad at your mom and dad. You go to school and you're mean to some kids. You start stacking up these bad things. I see this guy right here in the front row flicking the girl next to him. This guy right here with the green bandana picking his ear. He's not even listening. But he's stacking up. He doesn't know it. He's stacking up toilet paper on his bad table. You can watch the recording later. And so we get worried. Okay, we've got all this stuff stacked up here. And now, we've got to do some good. Now we've got so much stuff on our bad table. Oh, what am I going to do? I'm messing up. I'm making mom and dad mad. I'm angry. I'm not doing my homework. I know I'm messing up. I don't do the right thing. I don't seem to be able to do my chores. Right? Whatever it is you're worried about. And as you get older, the problems get bigger. But it's the same idea. You stack up toilet paper on your bad table. So then you got to stack up some good things. And so books are good. So I was like, okay, I'll put books on this table. So you say, okay, I'm going to do something good now. I'm going to be nice to somebody. I'm going to think nice thoughts about somebody. And in your head, you're thinking, okay, good. I got books. Okay, now I'm piling more stuff on my good table. I still got some bad here, so I need some more good things. Maybe I'll be nice to someone. Maybe I'll try to say a prayer or something. Maybe I'll give somebody something they don't think. And you think, okay, more and more good things. And you think, okay, good. Now I'm a little bit good because I've got more books than I do toilet paper. I got more good stuff than I do bad stuff. And what we have in our mind, this karma idea is we have to build up the good. We think that's the idea. For God to be happy with us, we have to have more good things than we do bad things. Well, here's what I want to tell you today, guys, is this is not how God works. This illustration here, this might work in your house. This is not how God works. God doesn't say, hey, you need to get more good things. You've been doing a lot of bad lately. You need to stack up this stack a little higher. No, this is absolutely not how God works. And this is a dangerous thing. Karma, this idea of karma can be a dangerous thing because it will stress you out. When bad things happen to you, you think, oh, it's because all this toilet paper. This is why bad things happen to me. I stubbed my toe. Oh, it's because all this toilet paper. All this, when more bad things happen, I knew I deserved this because of all these bad things that I did. Ugh. That's not why bad things are happening to you. That's not how God works. Don't stress yourself out trying to be perfect. You're always going to be blaming yourself if that's what. We had a sermon last week that I told the adults, because adults deal with this too. We worry, we've got to be perfect. We've got to keep everybody happy. Listen, people are going to be mad at you. This is another good lesson for you. People are going to be mad at you. No matter how good you are, bad things are going to be happening, and people are going to be mad at you. I worked with this lady. This is not a good illustration. I'm one of these people who I'm big on this table thing. I know it's wrong, but I'm like, I got to be good. I got to make this person happy. I got to be good, and then they'll like me. I worked with this lady who hated my guts, and it drove me nuts. I was the manager. She was another manager, and everything I did, she hated. And when I first started, I thought, oh no, what have I done? What am I going to do? I try to make her happy. And the more I tried to make her happy, that she really hated me. And it was the best thing that could have ever happened to me to have this woman hate me, because there was nothing I could have done, and it made me realize, some people just hate you. Some people are just going to be mad at you, and you got to be okay with that. If you start worrying about stacking up good things to keep everybody happy, you are going to be stressed out. Some people are going to be mad at you no matter what. It's a good lesson for me. So you be mad at me all you want now. I don't even care anymore. It was a great lesson. It broke me. Now, sometimes bad things happen to us, and it is our fault. These are called consequences. What I've been describing to you is karma. Karma says you do good things and God will give the good things to you. That's not true, but consequences are true. Sometimes you do bad things and there's going to be a bad consequence. Have you ever heard that word consequence? You guys know that word consequence? Consequence and karma are two different things. Consequences are true. Sometimes it is us. You do something dumb and you might get hurt because there's bad consequences. When I was a kid, I was watching my favorite show, He-Man. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of He-Man. But I was watching He-Man and I was eating my breakfast and my mom gave me a Flintstones vitamin. Do you guys do Flintstones vitamin still? And she said, eat this Flintstones vitamin. And I said, I don't want to eat this Flintstones vitamin. She goes, eat the Flintstones vitamin. That's not exactly how it was, but that's how I remember it. And I said, well, I'll eat the Flintstones vitamin when I'm done with He-Man. And so I set the Flintstones vitamin down. I can picture this. I set it on my leg and it fell down. I set it on my leg. I go, where can I put this Flintstones vitamin? And so I thought, my nose. I got 2 holes in my face that are just the right size for a Flintstones vitamin. I don't know why no one's ever thought of this before. It's like 2 pockets right on your face. And so I went, whoop, and I put it right up in there, and it fell down. I said, get up in there. It fell down again. I said, up as far as you can. So I shoved it way up in there, and then I sniffed, and I looked around, and I said, it worked. It's now there. Okay, I'll save it, and then when I'm done with He-Man, I'll get it out. So I finished watching He-Man. I said, okay, it's time for my Flintstones vitamin. This is a true story. Can you believe this? This is an absolute true story. So I finished up with He-Man, and I said, time for my vitamin. Genius me. And I put my finger up there. Okay, which one? Maybe it was the other one. Put my finger up in the other one. Nope. The Flintstones vitamin's nowhere to be found. So the next thing I do is I said, Mom! I lost my Flintstones vitamin. That's okay. It's not a big deal. We'll get you another one. No, I lost it in my head. So Mom couldn't even get it out. We had to go to the doctor. And the doctor, I remember he pulls out these tweezers. They were this big. And I don't think that's an exaggeration. They were this big. And he goes, put your head back. And he put the tweezers up in there, and he wriggled around, and then he pulled out this thing, this big bloody Flintstones vitamin. And then my mom says, now eat it. No, my mom's sitting right there. She didn't say that. I think I cried. Didn't I say, like, do I have to eat it? I think I asked, do I? What I do? Okay, that was a dumb thing that I did, and there were consequences to that. But that's not karma. That's just you did something dumb. Now you got to live with that mistake you did. I didn't do something dumb and then God punished me for it. That would be karma. That's wrong. I did something dumb and there I had to pay the consequences. So sometimes it is our fault. That's called consequences. Sometimes bad things happen to us, and it's not your fault. It's other people's fault. When I was a kid, I got bullied a lot, and I shared this with you on Wednesday. When I was a kid, I was just a little scrawny kid, and I never stuck up for myself, and I just got bullied all the time. And it was sad, and it was hurtful. And when I think about it, it makes me sad. So I don't want to think about it. But I got bullied a lot, and it wasn't because of my fault. It was my fault. But I went home every day when I would get bullied, and the bus was really bad. And I'd get off the bus, and I would think, oh, man, I'm such a terrible person. I wish this didn't happen, I'm hurt really bad, but it's not my fault. I would tend to think that it was my fault, because we always tend to think it's always our fault. Sometimes bad things happen to you because of other people's sins, because it's other people's fault. Sometimes it's your own consequences, but a lot of times it's other people. Sometimes bad things happen to us because we just live in a broken world. This confuses adults too, but I'm going to let you guys know this is not heaven, okay? There's going to be bad things that have happened. Sometimes people wonder, why are there so many bad things that happen? This is not heaven. God's making heaven. It's happening. It's going to be here. But right now, no, bad things happen. And sometimes bad things happen to you, not because of anything you did, not because of anything anybody else did, but simply because we live in a broken world. Now, when Pastor Ralph called me and said, hey, you got to give a sermon, I'm not going to be able to make it, I said, okay, I got to think about something. I got to figure out something. So what I do is I go for a walk. So I was out going for a walk, and going for a walk in our neighborhood, and it's a little bit late at night, and I'm going for a walk, and then I stop, and I see this cute little dog. I said, look at this little dog. It's a stray dog. And I like dogs. Maybe it's a cat. It's kind of dark. But then I got closer, and then I look at this. This is exactly what I saw. This is just yesterday. And I was like, okay, this is not a cute little dog. And so we stared at each other like this for a little bit. And then he started to raise his tail up and get back like this. And I was like, we're cool, bro. We're cool. Like, this is all good. I'm just going for a walk. Now, I did not get sprayed. Luckily, I did not get sprayed. But if I did get sprayed, it would have not been because of anything. I was just going for a walk. You could say, oh, you shouldn't go for walks. No, that's garbage. Sometimes bad things happen to you because we live in a world with skunks. We live in a stinky world. There's skunks out there, There's people who will hurt you. There is a stinky world out there, and sometimes you'll get stinky too. Not because it's your fault, just because we live in a broken world. Sometimes bad things happen to you, and it's not your fault. We think God works by karma. And some people even invented this whole idea that you have past lives. All these past lives, even if you do bad things in your past life, you have to pay for them now. That's garbage. I'm just going to tell you right now. That's garbage. And if you live that way, you're going to be stressed out even more because there's all the sorts of toilet paper that you don't even know about. I want to show you a picture of somebody, and then I'm going to move on. But I want to show you a picture of somebody named Erin Rose. This is my little niece. My little niece, Erin Rose, was born with ectodermal dysplasia, it's called. Parts of her body don't have skin on it. And it's terribly painful for little Erin. And when she was born, she was in terrible pain for a long, long, long time. Now, there is nothing in the world that Erin did to be born with ectodermal dysplasia. That's not her fault. That's not her parents' fault. You could ask, well, what happened here? Maybe it was the sin of a past life. No. Jesus says, neither her nor her parents did. We live in a broken world. But Jesus says, God wants his power to show through the brokenness. God wants his power to show through the hurt. God doesn't work by karma. Nothing little Erin done. If you need more proof, look at Jesus. Jesus tortured, humiliated, killed, betrayed. For anything he did wrong? No, not at all. Don't get thinking you got to stack up more books and then God will reward you. You got to not do as much toilet paper and God will punish you. That's not how God works. if that was, imagine this. Let's say that we have this idea in our heads. We got to do more good things, and then God will reward us. How many books, you guys think, would it take for me to stack up to get to the moon? How many books do you think it would take? Anybody, any guess? If I were to stack up books here, how many books would I need to get to the moon? Emmett? 11 trillion? That's more. Okay, he guessed more than it would take. So I did the math on this. And and kids, you got to pay attention to math class, because even if you think, oh, maybe I'll be a pastor, then I won't have to do math. No, you still got to do math. To get to the moon, it would take 11,250,000,000 books. That's how many books it would take for me to stack up to the moon. And if I would, maybe on a mountain or something, it would be a little bit less books. But about 11,250,000,000. Now, if I were to stack books to get up to the sun, how much would how many books would I need for that? Any thoughts on that? 50 billion? The answer is 4,419,600,000,000,000. That's how many it would take to get up to the sun. Now, so this is a ton of books. Now, how many books would it take, if this is your thought, that we have to build ourselves up to God, how many books would it take to get to God? 1? That's a good answer. You guys are cheating. Now, here's the thing. So, now, this is a good lesson for you kids too, because some people think, now, you can't, the bottom line, you can't build up books to get to God. That's what I'm trying to say. And some people, you guys need to understand this, because some people are, they'll look out in a telescope or they'll look in a microscope and they say, we don't see God anywhere, God must not exist. God's not something you build yourself up to. I'm surprised I even have to say this, but adults get confused on this too. Oh, we've looked everywhere, we can't find God. No, God's not out like a planet or something. Just so you kids know this. Remember this, because it's a silly reason why people don't think God is real, because they can't see him anywhere in a telescope. No, there's no amount of books that you can stack up to get to God. What Jesus does for us and why we come to church, Jesus clears away. In fact, Jesus takes away these tables. Jesus says, you know what? No more of this good and bad stuff. No more trying to work to try to get yourself up to heaven. With Jesus, we have two things. With Jesus, he comes down and he says, I'm going to clear away the bad table. I'm going to take away all those things that are bad. I'm going to clear that away, and I'm going to give you all of my good. I'm going to do two things for you. I'm going to take away all your bad. All your bad's going to be poured out on me, and I'm going to give you all my good. I don't deserve to be tortured, killed, crucified, but I don't deserve this thing happen to me, and I didn't deserve it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take your bad and give you all my good. So I don't want you to be worrying about stacking up all your good deeds to get to God, because here's the deal, Jesus says, because I'm with God. And if you're with me, then you're with God too. And all this idea about no less bad and more good, get that out of your head. It's my good that I'm giving to you. Stop trying to stack up those books. Stop trying to, worry about all your toilet paper. I've forgiven your toilet paper, and you can have my books. That's what Jesus says. Again, we have in our mind, well, what do we go to church for? We go to church because we need to, we've tacked up too much toilet paper. We got to get more books stacked up. We go to church and hopefully we can become better people so we can stack books better. That's not why we go to church. We go to church to celebrate that Jesus has already brought us to God. We go to church to celebrate we don't have to worry about stacking up these books. Jesus has already done it for us. You have to remember that Jesus has taken away these tables, and you have to remember both of them. He's taken away the bad, he's forgiven the bad, and he's given you his good. God doesn't want us to, because we will still stack up some toilet paper, we'll still do the bad things. What we have to do, and this is all God asks us to do, come to him for forgiveness. Say, God, I've stacked up some toilet paper. And God says, it's forgiven. God, I've stacked up some more toilet paper today. God says, it's forgiven. God, I've stacked up some good books. Okay, good. But you're not doing that to get to me, right? No, it's because I love you, God. Jesus clears away both tables. We're not trying to build up to God, and God forgives us for all the bad stuff. In conclusion, kids, means I'm about wrapping up, so you guys can start relaxing. Conclusion, God wants his power to be shown in you. This is what Jesus says. He says, neither this man sinned nor his parents. This happened so that the works of God might be displayed in him. so the works of God might be displayed in him. Whatever is bad, whatever is going on in your life, know that God wants his works to be displayed in you. No matter how bad it is, no matter, even up to death. We prayed for Pastor Ralph and his family. Even up to death itself, God says, but my works can be displayed in it. My glory can be shined through. Look at Jesus. What could be worse? How could it be okay that Jesus was betrayed and hurt and tortured and killed and crucified, and now he's dead? Certainly there's no good that can come out of this. God says, no, not even that. My goodness can shine through any bad thing you can imagine. But we need to seek that. We need to pray for it. God, no amount of books I'm saying is going to bring any light to this situation that I'm in. God says, but I can. You call on my name, and I will come in, and my power will shine through that darkness. Can we pray today that God's glory can come down in our lives? Can we get rid of these tables and stop trying to work ourselves up and stop trying to punish ourselves for the bad things and just ask forgiveness from the one who took the tables away and ask for his righteousness to come? And if you're going, whatever you're going through, ask for God's power to be displayed in it. Ask for God's light to shine in whatever bad things, and he will make it happen. There's no darkness that's so dark that God's light can't shine through.